So in case you've never played Ocarina of Time, I guess I should let you know what you're in for. I remember picking up this game for the very first time, well, at least the collector's edition that is, and I had no clue what I would be in for. I had only played a couple of Zelda games before, but this Zelda game turned out to be like an adventure like no other. Every day after school I would come home and play this game. I would sit at the TV for hours solving puzzles, conquering dungeons, and all around just having a great time. This game most definitely lives up to the title, Epic. Such a fantastic storyline, great graphics for its time, and an unforgettable soundtrack. So does the 3DS version live up to the Nintendo 64 classic? Let's find out in this review by Q. Okay, so as soon as you boot up the game on your 3DS, you immediately notice the jaw-dropping, gorgeous graphics, especially if you're playing with the 3D on. I mean, this game just looks beautiful. With such a magnificent remastered version of the opening sequence, this game will just have you staring at it for hours. But the opening sequence is not the only thing that is remastered in the game. The entire game's graphics have been updated to make it look absolutely just stunning. Everything from Link's character model to the completely redone environments instead of the houses in the store, and even the amazingly famous vast Hyrule fields. This game looks great. This game, I believe, really portrays what the 64 version was supposed to somewhat look like, but couldn't due to graphical limitations. Even though the whole game was given a makeover, you will still find many familiar faces, and it still has the feel of the old game. Although, there is one thing that I noticed. When you enter the House of Skullta and talk to the Skullta there on the 3DS version, compared to the 64 version looks a lot scarier. I mean, I'm glad they made him look less intimidating because I would always get creeped out whenever I would go in the House of Skulltas. I mean, just look at him. Now, if you've played the original Nintendo 64 version, on the 3DS, you will seem to be right at home with the controls, with a few alterations. The control stick on the 3DS well emulates the 64's analog stick, and the Z targeting has been replaced with L targeting instead, which can feel a little weird to use sometimes. Link still runs and controls as smooth and as great as he did in the original game, although the only thing I don't really like is the Ocarina setup. I'm so used to playing the songs with the C buttons and the A button on the original, and I memorized most of the song's combinations and formations. But on the 3DS version, the setup for the songs is very different. I mean, I get that it's a 3DS version and they gotta change it, but, you know, you instead use the L, R, A, X, and Y buttons to play songs. Maybe I should give it some time to get used to, but I would have much preferred playing songs with the D-pad and the A button, because it well emulates the C buttons and the A button like on the 64 controller. Other than that, a really neat thing about this game is the gyroscope function. When in first person mode, instead of using the control stick to aim, you can move the 3DS itself. Now isn't that just wonderful? I can stay active while playing my 3DS at the same time. What can I say about the sound that hasn't already been said? Along with the title, greatest game of all time, this in my opinion has the best soundtrack I've ever heard on any game, period. This is Koji Kondo's finest work of musical genius, and no other video game soundtrack can top the legendary melodies and captivating sound effects of this game. Now, as for the 3DS version, it seems that all the sounds in the original version of Ocarina of Time were just ripped straight out of the game and put into the 3DS cartridge. But honestly, is that really a bad thing? Some of the songs on this game just flat out are catchy and fun to listen to. Others just bring a tear to my eye whenever I hear it, causing me to have fond memories of playing this game for the first time in middle school. Yeah, middle school kinda late, but I didn't have a 64 as a kid. I've even taught myself some of the melodies on piano. Now, is this game difficult? Overall, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 3DS is a magnificent port of the Nintendo 64 classic and a whole new adventure to some. This, in my opinion, is one of the greatest games of all time, and if not, the greatest game of all time. If you don't believe me, go pick up both versions. They're both the same game. It's just the 3DS version has updated graphics. I give this game a 10 out of 10. Alright, so that's it for today's random review. I hope you enjoyed the review, and yeah, be sure to check out our website. There's a link in the description below. Just click on it. You know, after 5 seconds it'll say skip ad. That's just for us to get a couple cents. So you can watch the first review right here, right there. And yeah, I just reviewed Rayman. It's not one of my best reviews, but it's just the first review for the channel. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, everything that you can do. That's pretty much it. Until the Wednesday after next. Later days, gamers.